Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I want to talk to you guys about the AK-47 and the need for the gun to be upgraded. Okay? My main issue with the AK-47 is that there's not too many good places to put optics on it. Now the original design had this little mount on the side here where you would put where you basically would mount a side rail, okay, and it would sit like that. I got two issues with this. Number one, it sits pretty high. So when you put a red dot up here, basically when you're looking through if you get a proper cheek well, basically you're looking into the back of this rail. So you need to lift your head up higher up, all right. And now your jaw is basically sitting on the stock. So now I got to put a riser on the stock so I can get a proper cheek weld and be able to get my eye in the position that I need to get it. Another problem with this design is that if you drop this is very breakable, and this rail right here is broken, okay. And the other issue with this is, like, even under ideal conditions, if you push on this, okay, just because of the way it curves around, we got a long curve that goes up and around. If you push on this, that's going to move a little bit. Okay, so this is something that it's going to move. This is not the most stable place to put a scope. So this is a bad design. The side rail design, I feel, was always a very bad design. Okay? So what I did with this AK-47 is I put a Midwest rail on it, and I mounted a red dot on top of that. And this seems like a great solution on the surface, but it's not. Okay, the problem with this design, okay, is that the rail attaches to the barrel. Okay, so the bottom rail here attaches to the barrel, it clamps onto it, and then the top rail attaches to the bottom rail, and then the red dot goes on top of the rail, which is great. I mean, as far as giving you a very stable platform to mount a red dot on. The problem with this is, as you shoot this gun, right, if you shoot one magazine, this rail gets pretty hot. You shoot two magazines, that rail gets so hot that you can barely touch it. Okay, now you can always wear gloves, right? But the problem is that, fine, you're wearing gloves, but how about your red dot? Okay, if you shoot 3 magazines, 4 magazines, you're probably gonna burn your red dot out. So that's the problem with this design. It's not even though it has a rail, it is not a free-floated rail. It is a rail that attaches to the barrel, and all that heat is going to transfer from the barrel straight onto the rail, and then from there onto your red dot. Okay, so let's take a step. Let's go back. Let's go to the AR-15 for a second. Okay, designed back in the late 1950s, early 1960s. When they finally got some of the bugs out on this. This started off with basically the solid stock back here, all right, and then it had the carry handle up here. So this had an excellent bolt system. I love the bolt system on the AR-15. It's got a great engine. Both this gun, the AR-15 and the AK-47, both have excellent engines. They each have their strengths. The strength of the AR-15 bolt is when the gas comes up, pushes back, it goes into that expanding bolt. And what happens is it comes down into the bolt. As the bolt expands, the recoil goes straight back into your shoulder, because basically the bolt is in line with the barrel and the stock. So as that bolt expands, the recoil is going to come straight back. This gun does not lift up. So they had a great, Eugene Stoner had a great design on this gun. And they have kept that design, but they've made some other changes. The first thing they did is basically they changed the stock so that it will take a collapsible stock. And then the next thing they did is they changed the upper receiver so that it will take a Picatinny rail. So they removed the carry handle. And basically that carry handle was originally designed to take a scope on top of it. Okay, the carry handle was not meant so that you can carry the gun. The carry handle was designed so it would carry a scope on top of it. Okay. So what they did is they removed the carry handle. They gave us a Picatinny rail instead. Okay, and now your scope basically mounts onto the Picatinny rail. So now you have a very stable platform for that. So they kept the engine, and they upgraded the gun, and it was a very minor change that they made. Giving us a Picatinny rail, in place of a carry handle that they made. Okay, and then they took it a step further. Okay. What they did is they changed the upper receiver so that it would accept this rail and give us the free floating barrel. Okay, so there were some changes that were made to the AR-15, to bring it to its current state. So if they can change the AR-15, there's no reason why we can't make some minor changes to the AK-47. Now the AK-47 bolt, it's a little bit, obviously it's different. Its strength is reliability, durability. Okay, the gas comes up. There's a piston in there. It pushes on the piston so that the gas never ends up, in the engine of the gun. And that's the reason why the AK-47 lifts up, because basically as the gas comes up, it's pushing up. Basically that piston is lifting up. You have all that inertia on top of the gun, lifting it up a little bit, and they try to compensate for it by putting this, this little piece here that pushes the gun down a little bit. But the strength of the AK-47 is its durability and reliability. I've seen videos of people that have taken off the dust cover, filled it with dirt, and the gun will still work. Okay, so this is a very reliable gun. We want to keep the engine, right, and we want to make some minor changes so that the gun will accept a red dot. Okay, because like I said earlier, red dots are great tools. If you're a great shooter with iron sights, you will be even better with a red dot. Okay, and we want to keep the iron sights. What I want to do with the AK-47, okay, is I'd like that rear sight, right? This piece here, I want a Picatinny rail here. Okay, the rear sight can move back here on the dust cover because the rear sight is basically it's a backup at this point. Okay, move it back here because within 100 yards, I mean, yeah, granted the dust cover is not the most stable place on the gun, but within 100 yards you'll still be able to hit your target. So move the rear sight back here. Give us a Picatinny rail right here in this area here. And the cool thing is, once you give us a Picatinny rail, what we can do is, you can get like, if you're a traditionalist and you have to have a rear sight there, what you can do is you can get like a rear sight that attaches to the Picatinny rail, and then maybe make this other rear sight here removable. Okay, so we can satisfy purists that way too. So that's my suggestion. Move the rear sight back here. Make this area right here a Picatinny rail that will take a red dot, and now we can co-witness, co-witness the three, co-witness the red dot to the iron sights, and then also, obviously get rid of the wood furniture, all right, and put a rail system over here that's attached, that's free-floated to the receiver. There's no reason why we can't modify the receiver a little bit so that it will take a free-floating rail, and then we can put flashlights and all this other stuff that we want to put. Because, I mean, yeah, I can put a flashlight on this gun. I can mount it to the side here. I have the rail for it now. But after 4 magazines, this gets really hot. All that heat is gonna transfer to that light, and that's probably not very good for the light. Okay, so these are some really simple, basic upgrades that can be made to the AK-47, where we keep the engine, right? We keep the engine, which is back here, and we just upgrade it so that it will take, it will take the red dot and put the red dot in the place that is the most stable. Okay. I have no other problems with it. A lot of people sometimes talk about how much easier it is to change the magazines on the AR-15 and the ability to to do quick, fast, tactical reloads. Okay, with the AK-47, we can't do those. It takes a little bit more time to change the magazines. Okay, and doing a tactical reload, basically you have to, you can't really get both hands here. The magazines are too fat. You have to remove one magazine, put the other one in. And I really don't have too much of an issue with this. And the reason is, other than drills where we are doing magazine changes and tactical reloads, in most combat situations, we don't spend that much time changing magazines, and when we do change magazines, we're changing them from cover. So stripping the magazine out of the gun for a second and putting the other one in, it's not that big of a deal. So I'm okay with the magazine system, okay, on the AK-47. But the main issue is that they don't give me a good place to put a red dot. And like I said, putting the red dot on this Midwest rail here is great for recreational shooting. It's fine if you're only shooting you know, one magazine at a time or 2 magazines and letting the gun cool down. But if you're going to be shooting 4 or 5 magazines, this gun is going to get so hot that it's gonna fry that red dot. So this seriously needs to be put back here, so that it's not getting all that heat from the barrel. So there are my thoughts on this, and it's a great gun. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the gun to become even better. I mean, granted, the ones coming out of, you know, it's not likely that the Romanians and the Serbians are going to really change their design, but the ones coming, let's say, from Palmetto, for example, you know, Palmetto can change this, okay? Because they're making their own AK-47s. They can change this design, make this a Picatinny rail, put the rear sight back here, you know, give us a free-floated barrel, and basically they can steal the market, you know, with that type of an upgrade. Okay, they will have the best AK-47 out there, the most practical one. So there are my thoughts on that. If you guys have any questions, comments, please post it. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not a member, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys next time.